morning from the office. I'm your host, AP. We are North Georgia's only online morning show. Welcome to Monday morning President's Day. I want to start a little different. I'm going to start the week a little different than I normally do. And I want to put something out there, because if you're new to the show, just, hopefully we're having new viewers every day, and you don't know me, your host. I like to have some fun. I like to cut up. It's not unusual to open the show with me singing a little song, making up a little parody, all the above, because I just enjoy coming here every day. Even on Mondays, folks, I enjoy coming here every day and being with you. But I want to open a little different, because I want to make sure, and I'm going to do this at 9 o'clock also, because if somebody tunes in at 9 that is not able to watch at 8, I take very serious the mental illness. I take that very serious, okay? I know we have problems in this country with mental illness. And the reason I'm going to start this way is just to let you know that no matter what I say or whatever comment I make, nothing am I doing or saying is making light in any way of what took place in Parkland, Florida. My heart is broken, along with yours and the rest of America, that 17 high school kids got off the bus. And I don't know about you, got off the bus that day expecting to enjoy school and go home that afternoon and make plans for that evening, or do their homework, or whatever sporting activity they're involved in, the band, the drama club, the shows of whatever you're involved in. But the day changed, and it immediately changed because of a 19-year-old mentally ill young man entered their school and killed 17 kids. And I'm not for sure if it's 17 plus the football coach, but wounded others, wounded many others. So nothing about mental illness, nothing about the danger of a gun. The danger of a gun, yes, guns. A person can pull the trigger on a gun, a person. They don't go off by the, they don't just shoot themselves. A person can pull the trigger on a gun. They're very dangerous, they're very lethal, and they need to be handled properly. So I just wanted to make sure that I came this morning and said, because for the next 2 hours, I am going to say some things that you may not take well. You may feel I am being insensitive. But see, I'm not the one who rushed to politicize this. I'm not the one who rushed to lay blame and find the face. You see, the left puts a face of blame on everything immediately, politically, as fast as they can. See, we are not the ones here. But the left, the fake news media, the liberal media, the deep state, which I believe is true, some laugh at me, but the deep state has forced people like myself to come here today and make sure we come back at what was laid out this weekend to the American people, We put a face on things immediately to make the evil one exist. Now, right now, the NRA, they have wanted your guns, America. They do not want you to have a gun. This is where I start to, I love the children. Wait a minute, before I even go further, how many of you stop and think about high school? I was joking with somebody this morning and saying, okay, get out of bed. Like, you know, you have to go to school today. You know, you got to go to school. Get out of bed. You got to go to school. You know, that's the way I feel some days when I'm thinking to myself, oh, I don't want to go to school today. But what are you thinking about when you went to high school and you got off the school bus and you went inside and it just never dawned on you that somebody was going to shoot your school up that day? So this morning, obviously the NRA is the face of the villain that they have painted, and they want your guns. The media, any politician, Democrat, that comes to the podium and says to you, I support the Second Amendment. I support the Second Amendment. Okay? Anyone that says, they're lying to you. They do not. I mean, I keep my Constitution right here, and, you know, I always read the Second Amendment and I'm going to tell you something for those that have time, and I'm telling you, it's like a college course. It's for me, it's a tough read, okay? You take the Constitution, the Second Amendment, and you go over here, and let me just say this. This is my recommendation this morning, okay? Stick with me. I got a lot going on here. But Antonin Scalia, the great Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia, there's the book here called Scalia's Court. And in Scalia's Court, this book, okay, there are gun rights, page 131, okay, gun rights. I'm telling you, if you want to understand, to me, the constitutional meaning, okay, of the Second Amendment, you get Scalia's Court, Anthony Scalia's Court, and you read Chapter 6, Gun Rights, 131. It's a tough read, I have to tell you. It's like a college course. You read that. They do not want you to have a gun in America. They want to take your guns. They want to disarm you. Now, you may not like that, so we're going to move on. How safe? I've asked some questions before we really get into detail with this. I went on Facebook, and you could find us. Let's talk about that, Amanda. By the way, I'm sorry, Amanda. Good morning. How are you today? Good?
Good.
Okay. I went on. You can find us on. Let's tell everybody. If you want to answer any of the questions, if you want to get involved in the conversation, okay. If you want to get involved in the conversation, 706-889-9700 is our live line there. 706-889-9700. You can send us a text message. Tell me if you disagree with me on the discussion this morning. You can send me a message at chief@fetchernews.com, chief@fetchernews.com. Follow us on Twitter at FetcherNews, at FYNTV. And also our YouTube channel, FYNTV, Fetcher News YouTube channel. If you'll subscribe there, anytime we have we broadcast something live or upload a video, you'll get a notification. Also, find us on Facebook. Okay, find us on all of our Facebook, Fetcher News, FYNTV. Now, I've asked some questions this morning that we're going to answer and get into. How safe are our schools in Georgia? Now, we're broadcasting from Georgia, so if you're in Texas this morning, Illinois, California, New York, New Jersey, wherever you may be, okay, the question applies to you. But how safe are our kids' schools in Georgia? Does your kids' school, now they're out for President's Day, right, winter holiday, does your kids' school have a school resource officer? You'll hear all the time, SRO, that's a school resource officer. If there is, are they full-time 5 days a week, and are they armed? Now, we did ask some questions yesterday. I called a couple I called, spoke to one sheriff, spoke to one superintendent of schools yesterday, spoke to a Georgia State politician, one of our representatives here in North Georgia. I asked some questions. We're going to go over that. If you have a child this morning and your school does not have any, if your child is attending a school today, it does not have any kind of security measures that you feel are adequate. Maybe you don't have an armed SRO on site full time. Your school, yes, we're not going to get into the gun-free zone. We know that doesn't work, okay, whatever. But inside the school, are there people that can defend your children in the school with a weapon, not their body? One of the saddest throughout the weekend is to hear, and heroes they are. They're just that. They are heroes. But there's a time there's no need for the hero. Why was there a need for the hero? Because they didn't have armed personnel on the site? So people using their bodies to take bullets. Is your school armed properly? Do you feel safe sending your kids to school this morning? I asked the other question. Did you see the 4 kids on all of the morning shows? Now, I do not enjoy them. You have to understand, I do not enjoy them. I do look forward to the day, not retiring, because I won't retire, but look forward to the day where I don't get up and watch all the leftist propaganda to see which way I call the enemy, the deep state, is going. And all 4, I mean, really, America, this is not news. All 4 from Chris Wallace. I watched Fox News Sunday, Chuck Todd, Meet the Press. I watched Face the Nation, and Martha Radis, ABC, This Week on ABC. I watched all 4 and then some clips on CNN. But they had these kids, okay? David Hogue, Alex Wind, Emma Gonzalez, and Carmen Kasky. They had these kids, and within just a matter of 2 days, there's a full organization, March for Our Lives. So if you watch Fox News, these 5 kids sit there. They had their earpieces in. They were mic'd up. Then they moved them over to NBC. Then they moved them over to CBS. And then they moved them over to CNN. And the list goes on. These 5 kids. Put the picture of those 5 kids up. I forget what I have them named. I don't want to give the name away yet, or what I called them, okay? But you see, these are the 5 kids, okay? They're on every single station everywhere. March for Our Lives, okay? There's a website. We're going to go deeper into that. Also, put the picture up of, we're going to look a little bit at this kid, David Hogue. Put David Hogue's picture up. Okay? I asked a question on Facebook this morning and everywhere. Who wrote the speeches and interviews for these kids? Who wrote them? Okay? We're going to play some video clips of these kids, okay? Who wrote their speeches? Who wrote Emma Gonzalez's speech? I mean, one of those proud teachers, one of those proud anti-pro-Hillary supporting, anti-Marco Rubio, anti-guns. Maybe one of those teachers helped Emma Gonzalez. Put her picture up. You have her picture? Write her speech. Who told these kids the NRA was the enemy? Who set that up for them? Who told the kids the NRA, they are the enemy? Who told this kid when she was giving her speech? And we're going to play clips of all these speeches, all right? Who told this kid? And I'm going to close my opening with something I think is very strong, okay? Who told these kids to look for the contributions from the NRA to the President of the United States, from the NRA to your local politician or your local elected official? Who told these kids to go after that? Who singled that out? Okay? You want me to believe these kids knew to attack the NRA without coaching? There's even talk of abolishing the Second Amendment. You see, folks, we're not going to go back to Ozzie and Harriet. I mean, and those of you out there don't understand maybe what I just said, and Ricky Nelson, all right? Hello, Mary Lou, goodbye, heart. Did I get that one? I'm going to check during the thing. Ricky Nelson, we're not going back there. We're not going back to Leave It to Beaver. It's not going to happen. I mean, we're not even going to go back to the Brady Bunch, the first divorce. Two divorcees, is that what it is? Married with children, blending a family together. We're not even going to go back there in America. That ship has sailed. We are here today, and we must deal with where we're at today. Okay? So, we find out the FBI had several notifications on this kid. Social services, there was psychiatric mental evaluations of the kid, okay? All right, social services, they knew about this kid, okay? The government knew about this kid. The kids at school knew about this kid. This is a total failure of our government. A total failure of our government. Total failure of our government. Now, people are upset because President Obama, we will get to President Obama in a minute, President Donald Trump made reference to the FBI spending all the time in the last 2 years, year and a half, with Russian collusion, the last year, over a year now, of Russian collusion, the FBI and the dossier, and we won't get into that because I don't want to desensitize what we're discussing, where they could have been getting serious and getting back to the basics. And, you know, Donald Trump's taking a lot of heat for that. But let me tell you something before I go to break, okay? Because we're going to come back, we're going to play some videos of these kids. What did I say last week? Amanda, remember this? Let me ask you a question, all right? And I want to check your memory. You ready? I said, sadly, when this happened, the Democrats ran over to the chalkboard and wrote this down as a campaign issue. Did I not?
Yes, you did, and it's totally true.
I said last week, you know, may have been the first, seriously, because we come on at 8 in the morning. I said they ran over to the chalkboard, and I said, sadly enough, a group of Democrats cheered and said, oh my gosh, look what we have. And they ran over to the chalkboard and they wrote this down for the election 2018, right?
That's right.
Okay. Now, I also have said this several times on this show, probably pre-Amanda, she's maybe heard it once or twice. Put all those kids up again. There's two things. Don't get upset with what I'm about to say, but I want to tell you what I've named these kids. I've named this group of 5 the Obama kids. Okay? They are the Obama kids. Now stay with me, okay? Now, the one young man is 18. I think they're all in the 16 to 18 range. All right? Sadly enough, way before this Parkland disaster here that killed 17, I mean, I don't even know how to describe killing these innocent children, okay? Sadly enough, I said for a year, okay, if you've watched this show, you've heard this, me say this 10 times over. You do realize a kid that's 18 years today, the kid on the left that we're going to talk about, or is it my left? No, it's my right. I never can get that, okay?
Come on, it's always the opposite.
Always the opposite. Thanks for reminding me of that. So the kid on the far right, okay? The kid on the far right, all right? He's 18, okay? And I've always come and I've told you several times, how many times have I told you, do you realize a kid 18 years old was only, right now with President Obama, he's only 9 years old when President Obama takes office. All of these kids grew up in the new normal, as Rush Limbaugh has put it so many times. They grew up in the new normal, okay? These are Obama's kids. This is what has happened. Your kids have grown up under the Obama administration. They don't know leadership. They rely on the government. They believe this problem at Parkland was 100% the government's fault and the lack of banning guns. On and on. Got to remember that. These kids are the Obama kids. See, we can't go back. And I can't leave here and go to break and say that, hey, just in the last 8 years, the deep state, the left, we'll just start with Woodrow Wilson. They've had an agenda for a long time. So besides that, also we find out the Russian indictments is the Russian bots again. We're going to talk about that later in the show. When we come back, we're going to play some of these kids' videos because I'm telling you now, I'm telling you right now, I don't want to talk about the Russian investigation right this minute because what happened this weekend and how they laid the groundwork for 2018 and to take further steps to take your guns. Do not believe the first politician that looks at you and ever says, not the first, Democrat. Don't believe the first Democrat politician that ever looks at you and says, I believe in the Second Amendment. There's not a one in the House or the Senate that truly believe in the Second Amendment, and when they lie and say they do, they say it's for your defense of your home and your defense of your home, hunting. But if they take our guns, who's going to defend us from the government one day? Because that's coming down the road. I know you didn't like it. Take a break. We'll be right back. We're going to watch some of these videos of these kids.